Are Begonia semperflorens perennial?
Yes, Begonia semperflorens are technically perennial, but in my experience, they're often treated as annuals in regions with cold winters. In my garden, they usually last through the growing season and then succumb to the frost. I've read that they can be overwintered indoors, but I haven't tried that myself yet.
See more 2104 species in genus Begonia at monsteraholic.com. How to care for Begonia semperflorens. Here's a guide to keep your Begonia semperflorens thriving and blooming throughout the season. Light.
Bright, indirect sunlight. Aim for at least 5 to 6 hours of bright, indirect sunlight daily.
This encourages healthy growth and continuous flowering.
Avoid harsh, direct sun, especially during the hottest part of the day, which can scorch the leaves and flowers. East or north-facing windows, outdoors, or filtered light. Indoors, placing your wax begonia near an east or north-facing window provides ideal outdoor lighting. If planting indoors, use sheer curtains or light filtering to diffuse strong sunlight from south-facing windows.
Watering.
Water when dry. Soak and dry method. Begonia semperflorens prefers the soak and dry method.
Allow the top inch of soil to dry out completely between waterings.
Overwatering is a major threat, so underwatering is better than overwatering. Thorough soaking. When watering, soak the soil thoroughly until excess water drains from the pot's drainage holes. Discard any water collected in the saucer to prevent root rot.
Soil and potting.
Well-draining mix. Use a well-draining potting mix specifically formulated for flowering plants. You can also create your own mix using potting soil, perlite, and coarse sand in equal parts for optimal drainage.
Drainage holes. Ensure the pot has drainage holes to prevent waterlogging, which can lead to root rot.
Consider using a pot with a saucer to catch excess water, but discard the water after watering.
Temperature and humidity.
Warm temperatures. Begonia semperflorens thrives in warm temperatures between 60 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit, 15 to 24 degrees Celsius. Avoid frost and freezing temperatures.
Average humidity levels. Average household humidity levels are sufficient. Higher humidity can be beneficial, but not necessary.
You can occasionally mist the plant, especially in dry climates.
Fertilizing.
Light feeding. During the growing and flowering season, spring and summer, you can fertilize your Begonia semperflorens monthly with a diluted, balanced liquid fertilizer.
Avoid over-fertilizing, which can cause excessive foliage growth at the expense of flowers.
Reduced fertilizing in fall and winter. Reduce or stop fertilizing during fall and winter when the plant's growth slows.
Deadheading. Encourage more blooms. Regularly deadhead spent flowers by pinching them off at the base. This encourages continuous blooming throughout the season and keeps the plant looking tidy.
Additional tips. Pinching. You can occasionally pinch back leggy stems to promote bushier growth and more flowers. Pests and diseases. Generally pest and disease resistant.
Watch out for mealybugs, aphids, or powdery mildew.
Treat them with insecticidal soap, neem oil, or a fungicide if necessary. Winter care. For temperate climates and colder climates, you can bring your begonia indoors before the first frost. Provide it with bright, indirect sunlight and maintain moderate watering. You can also consider planting wax begonias as annuals and replace them with fresh plants each season.
Can Begonia semperflorens grow indoors? I've grown Begonia semperflorens indoors, and it's been a rewarding experience.
They brighten up my living space with their vibrant flowers and glossy leaves. I place them near a window where they get plenty of indirect light, and I water them when the top inch of soil feels dry. They've done really well indoors, and it's a joy to see them thrive year-round.
How far apart to plant Begonia semperflorens?
When planting Begonia semperflorens in the garden, I usually space them about 8 to 12 inches apart. This spacing seems to work well, allowing enough room for each plant to grow and fill out without crowding its neighbors.
It also ensures good air circulation, which helps keep the plants healthy. How to grow Begonia semperflorens from seed. Growing Begonia semperflorens from seed has been a bit of a challenge for me, but it's definitely doable.
I start by sowing the tiny seeds on the surface of moist seed starting mix in a shallow tray. They need light to germinate, so I don't cover them with soil. I keep the tray in a warm, bright spot and make sure the soil stays consistently moist. It usually takes a couple of weeks for the seeds to sprout, and then I carefully transplant the seedlings when they're big enough to handle.
How to overwinter Begonia semperflorens? To overwinter Begonia semperflorens, I've dug up the plants before the first frost and potted them to bring indoors. I trim them back a bit and place them in a sunny window. During the winter months, I reduce watering and make sure the indoor temperature stays above 60 degrees Fahrenheit. They tend to go semi-dormant, but with a little care, they bounce back beautifully in the spring when I replant them outside.